Greetings, hello, and welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. I'm ImperialJedi, time for another episode. And for today's episode, I thought we'd do something kind of fun. I was hoping to maybe install a national road network in through the back part of the city here. And I've done a little bit of stuff off camera, so I'll show you guys that before we start. But just a quick little pause here. I just want to show you just the game plan. So I did buy this tile over, so we did hit the 7,500 just in between the episodes. I was just doing some beautification and jazzing stuff up. And so yeah, I bought this tile, and I decided to just fix this highway off camera, because I wanted to spend some extra time on it, just make sure it looked like super, nice and level. And the way I achieved this, and you can see it wasn't really perfect, but I got pretty darn close, is I just went from pillar to pillar. And I would just kind of maybe do a page up or page down just to try and adjust it. And then when I did the other side of the highway, I just did the same thing. I just went from pillar to pillar. And that got everything to line up really, really nicely. Especially the suspension arms. That was kind of key, I think. And then I terraformed a little bit of this. There already was a slight waterfall, but I put in some rocks and some assets, just a whole bunch of trees and stuff, just to make it feel a little bit more, kind of picturesque and scenic. And what I was thinking we could do is have the National Road sneak right through here, maybe go as a little bridge, and have like a little turnpike type thing, and meet the highway here, and then we'll sneak the National Road in through the valley, which gives us some chance for some future growth and stuff down here. And then we'll wind our way back around over towards the farm area. And then the long-term goal when we buy some more tiles would be to connect back up over here. That way we have like a support highway network. So if you are going to be going to say like, the factory zones or the foresting or forest area or farming or whatever, you don't really have to cut through the in-town anymore. This is just more so if you're getting from the highway to in-town, and if you do happen to live here and you're going down there, but if you need to do a quick link, it's also possible. And I just, help traffic it a little bit through here, and just on my quest to beautify the city, I just put in some trees and that kind of stuff in the medians here. And a little high-speed turning arm, just trying to change the lanes around a bit. And then I was thinking that since we were going to be using this area here for some taller buildings, downtown kind of stuff, because it would look kind of cool, right, being up on the hill. I think we talked about that earlier. We could kind of like use like a little bit of make-believe here, but maybe in the holidays or whatever, this is the tree that they decorate for, for Christmas or whatever. That's kind of fun, right? So a bit more of an emphasis on the roundabout here. I put some bushes in to make it look a little bit cleaner. Nothing to really block the view or whatever, but and I didn't do the traffic light, so I'm happy the way this is working. And once we start diverting a little more traffic, I think we'll be okay just in the grand scheme. But the reason why I have it on pause is I'm running into some problems here with a little bit of flooding, as you guys were pointing out in the comments. And we definitely have got to get the incinerators in. But the last thing I'm going to show you before we do that is I just did a nifty little bit of beautifying and change up to the highway here. So I just ran some trees down the center just to make it look a little bit nicer. And then for this spot here, I made a slight wiggle in the highway just so I could sneak another transfer point in for the collector system. And the way I did that is I just deleted, I'll just run a little highway next to us here. So I just had the two highways that were running alongside relatively even. And then what I ended up doing was drawing one of these over like that, and I deleted part of the road, and then that gave me the points to work with, what am I trying to say here, these grids. And then when I drew that, it allowed me to get the proper spacing, so it looks really clean and uniform. I'm sorry if that was a terrible way to explain it, so if I can do it a little bit better. But yeah, basically here I would just draw a little thing across just to get a reference point, make sure things are going symmetrically in line, and then I would just delete the highway, move over what I want, and just put a little on-off thing in. Probably needs to do a little bit of experimenting as well. And then my thought for this was now we can sneak another on-off point for the highway, and that would kind of make sense for the new transfer points. Okay, that's pretty much it. And before we put down the garbage dumps and everything, sorry, the incinerators, wow, I can't speak today. Let's go over what we unlocked with the last milestone. So we did get the new tile, and I'll show you guys just to make sure here. So we bought this one here, which is what allowed me to do the highway reconstruction, this little bit of terraforming stuff. So it's kind of in through here. That's where we're going to run the our little national road network. Okay, so a lot more of an emphasis on policies, just in general. We still really haven't done too many of those, but I encourage you guys to try some out. Again, the reason why I don't do too many of them is I feel like the cost benefit isn't quite there yet for the size of our city. But when the city is large and we want to start doing some customization, it's totally a great time to start doing some fun stuff. We will be doing a bit of a segue into mass transit very, very shortly. So we now have Metro we can add to that list. And if you're using mass transit, you have the full DLC, you can start doing some blimps. And what's cool is we get some more unique buildings, and we finally get high density. So this is like big thumbs up right here. I'm excited for this. And we get some new buildings too. So we'll also dedicate an episode just solely for this, but we'll be building a university campus pretty soon, now that we unlocked that, which is pretty cool. We have saunas, not really popular in North America, huge over in Europe, but great for healthcare in their city. We now have prisons, so crime is a little bit of a problem, or if you want to say for like an aesthetic kind of look, you can have like a prison on the outskirts of town, maybe like a little Alcatraz Island style, and there's our little metros. But the big thing we got is the incineration plant. And if you're using the Natural Disasters DLC, you now have access to all of this. And I was thinking of maybe doing like a small little segue side episode where if you guys don't have it, you don't really have to watch it, or if you're just curious, you can watch it type thing. But it won't really affect the whole city, because I don't normally play with disasters on. I tend to like to use the buildings though that you get from the Natural Disasters DLC. It's pretty handy because you get things like a freshwater outflow pipe, and this you could use to make like waterfalls and stuff. And you get freshwater holding tanks. So you get some more assets just to kind of play around with. So these look kind of cool in like industrial zones and stuff. So if you're just going for the vanilla experience, it just adds more assets, a little bit more fields. You get helicopters too, which I think is pretty cool. Fire watchtowers. Well, yeah, we'll plant some of those just throughout the city anyway, just for the visual look. Okay, so let's start fixing some problems here. I think the first thing we can start with is the garbage, and then we'll let the city run as the garbage problem kind of sorts itself out, and then I'll show you guys in real time how to kind of fix the flooding here. And this will be applicable really just for a whole bunch of other stuff. All right, so the garbage, what we're gonna have to do is drop down an incinerator close to every one of the landfills. Because the landfill, once you empty it, is gonna send a garbage truck full of trash out to the nearest other landfill or incinerator. So we gotta be wary of traffic. So I think what we can do, just to even start us off on the right foot here, is let's have a small little service road go behind the garbage dump. But we'll have it as a one-way exit. And then that way, just because of the way traffic flows, we'll just have a nice little loop right here. So garbage trucks just have a quick little turnaround, be able to burn all the trash they need. Once we get this empty, we'll be able to get it right out of town. So that's fine right there, not really disrupting anybody. And then we're going to want to click empty into another facility. And then for here, we're going to want to do the same thing, but maybe just to change it up a little bit. I think I have something in mind here. Let's try this out. Turn that off. I'm going to try doing a roundabout, and then we'll zone the buildings off the roundabout itself. Well, not really zone, we'll plop them down, but... And then once we get all this done, we'll head off over to our national road network. So much to do this episode, but the theme is definitely getting the national road in. But the city would just fall apart if we didn't put this stuff in, right? Okay, so that's those two right there, great. And the reason why I can't click this one over to empty is because those two are full. So we have to put it on 3-speed, wait for these to kick into gear, and then we'll be able to empty it out. Awesome. And I think just to give us a little bit more of a helping hand, just in terms of the whole traffic flow and stuff, maybe we can sneak another road back there? No. Unfortunately, we cannot, unless we did a bridge. That's because of the way that the traffic's flowing, so they've got to cut in front of other people. Maybe not the most efficient thing. So let's maybe, you know, even if it looks a little bit ugly, let's just get a little bridge in here. I know this seemed a little silly, but hopefully that'll help and give that, you know, box motion again. Okay, let this do its thing. As the facility's empty, we'll see less garbage trucks anyhow. Now, when it comes to the flooding, this is just like having too much traffic going through an intersection. Because the river, when it was created by whoever made this map, they just had this water source up here in mind. And we're technically adding more water sources by having these outflow pipes here. So just like with the traffic, we just got to make the roads a little bit wider, right? So I'm going to click on our slope terrain here. I'm going to make sure we're on maximum strength, probably go over the medium strength brush. I'm going to right click, that's going to set the height. And then as I just push down, you see it just matches that height. So we're going to just make this a little bit wider. We're going to be wary of how the river looks with the bridge right here. Don't really want to make that look too uneven. And then for those of you who are on a console who can't use any of the terraforming, if this kind of flooding happens when you're, you know, doing your outflow pipes and stuff, you're going to have to take a look at the profile of the map, and you'll want to place them somewhere where it just has the natural downflow, and it just kind of makes its way off to the edge of the map, or just into like a river basin or something that's a little bit lower. You don't really want to have it so that like you have a like a flood point. And I wouldn't rule out terraforming and that kind of stuff coming to the systems later. I think with the console versions, it was a little bit of a just kind of like, let's see how it sells, and then if it does really well, we'll put some more resources into it. And I think the consoles are doing really well. Like I've seen video of it, everyone seems to be, you know, happy with it. A little limitations, obviously. So it's kind of cool. Great to have a city builder on console. It's been a long time. So I'm just raising this part of the bank just slightly, just to kind of get rid of this little chance of happening. And then when we buy the next tile down, we'll probably have to end up doing the same thing. A little bit of terraforming, a little bit of widening out, but there we go. Totally no problem. We're good to go. So we've just increased the flow through. So just imagine we've gone from a street to a highway. There we go, faster speed limit. And then excess water just evaporates, so any flooding, don't even worry. The water, it carries momentum, so all the sloshing stuff kind of figures itself out. There we go, cool. Garbage is going away, water solving itself. Awesome, let's work on our highway now. Okay, so hopefully we can get this on the first go. But what I was envisioning was basically something that came through here, made a bridge over this, and then kind of banked inward on a curvy, just kind of doing like one of these, and then we'd have the fast arm coming like this, and then the curvy arm going in like that. Hope you guys can visualize that, because that's kind of what I'm picturing. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on time. I might maybe finish the interchange or something off camera, maybe redo some parts, but you never know. We can get lucky and just get this all on the first shot. And that's also part of the reason why I like doing some of this stuff off camera, so I can spend a little bit more time, just I can redo things like maybe 3-4 times, you know, just to get the right feel. And sometimes I like to test stuff out, see what works better than say another build. So I've tried similar stuff like this in other cities. Okay, so it looks like just because of the spacing, we're gonna have to come at a slightly different angle. I can go like that first. Oh, there we go. That's the right distance and height. Okay. Have to make sure we're looking at this from the side profile. That's not what I want. Okay, now that I can work with. And we'll just drop this down to ground level, making sure our slopes aren't too dramatic though. Because then that's how we lose a lot of speed, and we lose that realism too, when just things kind of look a little over-engineered the wrong way. Okay, so that just can sneak up the valley like that. It's like not too steep, I'm happy with that. Nice little gentle downhill. Great views of the river here, with the waterfall and the bridge. Yeah, this is cool. And we should still have enough room to sneak some arms that come up the side and link. Yep, I think we're off to a good start here. So let's go a little bit wide with this, but we'll take a look at the side profile, start going down. We want to aim our arm to kind of come up like that, basically. So why don't we come from this side with the one way, with our intention. So that goes over to here now. Totally the wrong side. So that should probably be taller. Yeah, you can kind of see it's a lot of trial and error, especially with the slopes. And then what I'm thinking of doing, just so that we don't have this overly dramatic tall bridge kind of effect happening, I think I'm going to do a slight amount of terraforming here as well. Oh yeah, it's starting to come together. So like that's nice. Oh, this is perfect. So your high-speed flow inward, the slope and everything looks great. And then we're going to have the other one go like that. And we can do it the two ways. We can go like this. Oh, too tall. Or we can have it the way it suggested. Like that. But that might be a little sharp, so let's go down. Oh, this thing looks so cool. Nope, we're gonna have to do it the first way. That's okay. And then if we were using some mods we would then maybe change this over to the 4-lane just to accommodate faster flow. No, you know what? This has to be a little bit wider just to accommodate a bit more of a curve in there. Patience, right? Patience is the virtue, is that what they say? So we're just going a little bit wider, which should give us the room. That still comes in at a nice angle. Actually, even better, I think, now. And this is us with more room to do this. Oh, that's great. That's really cool, actually. And then, so what I was saying with the terraforming and stuff is I would maybe just then bring this out, and then we'll smooth it out. And then we can always put a whole bunch of trees and stuff. And then that way, it doesn't really look like it's just over, you know, too many bridge pillars, like that kind of feel. And we'll just carve a little bit of this back in, and then we'll just slope it out. Oh, that's kind of cool. Even bigger ones here. Yeah, that looks a little bit better already. So yeah, probably in between episodes, I'll put a whole bunch of trees and whatnot in. And the reason why we chose this for direction is now you'll note no one has to cross in front of each other to get on and off the highway. So it's really fast flow through. And we tried to engineer the arms so that they weren't too sharp, kind of merge well. All right, we just need the other side now. So that would just come all the way up like this. Not too steep. Let's push a few of these trees back. It's, I mean, a little... I wish that transition was a little bit smoother, but I don't actually think this is all that bad. Maybe go a little bit further down even. Yeah, I think I like that even more. And if we can get that going even a bit further down, make that smoother. Oh yeah. That's money. Okay, now let's get this side going down over to here. And if we wanted to, we could use this. But just to maybe cut back on cars turning in front of each other or whatever, let's do this. Awesome. Now, if this had been a little bit hard to sneak in, hypothetically, we could have come in and met with the tunnel. You can have tunnels meet tunnels. That's a really cool way of playing this as well. And then I think just for a little bit of realism, oh, you know, darn it, I was going to do the single lane with the sound barrier, but we don't actually get that. But yeah, just for some safety, what I want to do is have a sound barrier through here, because that would act as a little bit of a guide rail. You can see just through that little steep part where the bridge kind of merges. So there we go. That's what I'm after for this. That's cool. I'm happy with the way that looks. And we'll be able to test out traffic in just a second once we connect this up. We're just sneaking through the valley, trying not to be too steep. Where it kind of wiggles like that, I might even avoid those points. Because you gotta think of like the National Road as maybe being an older road that has been since repaved and reworked, but maybe initially when it was made to maybe follow the path of least resistance. So this could have been even like a trail for horse-drawn carriages at one point, right? And they would have had no tools really to dig out the mountains. They're very limited, right? So they'd have to kind of have a winding path. So that could be us following that path. And I think maybe for here, we can just have a slight tunnel. Just to show that we're, modernizing our old path here. No, a little bit lower would be great. Oopsies. And remember, that's V to go in between the above and below ground, which I learned, I think it was at the beginning of this series. So always learning new things. That looks a lot nicer. And like I was saying, when we buy the next tile over, we can make an interchange over here or something, or we can redo the highway. But for the moment, let's just make our way right into where the trucks are doing the most turning and everything. And we'll sneak in at a couple points just for the sake of speediness here. So I'm gonna go like that. And then we'll have a way to go on the highway from here. So this is you leaving the city. If you're a truck going from the forestry sector. And then we'll have this go like that, just to try and break traffic a little bit here. And then maybe, there we go. Another way on. And then, just for the sake of some traffic flow, what I'm gonna do for right here is just put a stop sign there, so it's flow through priority for the highway. And then I would have that same argument over here. Cool. And we'll monitor traffic, of course. And we'll put it on 3-speed, just make sure people are actually using this. But the principal idea is all of these vehicles going this way would, instead of going this way, now go this way. That's what I'm trying to say. So we are alleviating some traffic. And I wouldn't really say this is bad traffic, especially now that we've changed the arm configuration around. Get rid of the traffic lights and all that stuff, right? And the garbage, you know, they've sorted themselves out. You can see the landfill starting to empty. A lot of the garbage icons are going away. Almost made it through the whole city. There we go. Now let's take a look at our interchange over here, see how this ended up. I'd say maybe this is a little bit sharp. I might look into redoing that once I put down some more trees here, but otherwise I think this is pretty much what we're after. So the vehicles have to do a little bit too sharp of a turn. So the way I'm going to fix this is I'm going to make that go a little wider outward, and then we'll just come in at a slightly wider point there. But that's it, guys. I will leave you with this. Thanks for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. This is a good episode. And this is really going to benefit the city in the future, too. It's kind of a fun interchange. All right, so we'll eventually, you know, build a little bit more industry in towns through here, right? Because our goal is to shift the industry over, so we can even start our first little pocket down here, get a bit more use out of this highway. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys. And I hope the build is going well in your own cities. I will upload the city once I finish the reconstruction of this. So you guys are very welcome to kind of work with that. And, you know, with the highway and everything, I think we're getting there. This is going to be a really nice city when it's all said and done. So next episode, we're going to transition into some high-density zoning. We're going to really get the population higher, and then probably right after that, we'll do some talk about mass transit. We'll have like a central public transit hub. Goodness gracious me, lots of words for today. And yeah, a whole bunch of other stuff. All right, that's it, guys. Adios. All the best. Take care. Happy building.